Good evening, it is Matt Rogers. It is now the 12th of February 2025. We are used to thinking about planets as worlds that exist in stellar systems, planets from around the stars, and then settle into the orbits around giant balls of gas. In recent years, astronomers have developed rogue planets that roam interstellar space independent to any star. The first rogue planets was discovered were very large, a size of Jupiter or even bigger. However, small rogue planets are now known to exist. A new study by researchers from the establishment at the University of Japan suggests that rogue planets may be more common in the Milky Way than planets contained within the stellar systems. The study of implications by the establishment Nancy Grace Roman telescope scheduled to launch in 2027, which could find hundreds of rogue planets and masses similar to the Earth. Have you ever stared up to the sky at night and thought about the heavenly bodies and objects up there? Maybe you've watched the comet fly past, or a shower of meteors fly towards the Earth, or perhaps you just gaze up at the stars, imagining all the other objects orbiting all at once. Did you know not all planets orbit a star? It's true, some planets travel through space on its own, floating in whichever direction gravity pulls them. We can all call these untethered flying objects rogue planets. How many rogue planets are out there? No one is quite sure. However, experts have stated there must be billions in the Milky Way galaxy alone. In fact, they are now believed that there could be more rogue planets in our galaxy than there is indeed stars. Because rogue planets are in constant motion and do not give off light, they're very difficult to detect. However, the space agencies now hopes to find these roaming nomads with a new device. It's called the Nancy Grace Roman Space Telescope. This telescope will help scientists find rogue planets by detecting microlensing. That is when the light from the star bends towards a planet's gravity. By sending this bending of light, the Roman Space Telescope will be able to help scientists find rogue planets that were once undetectable. How does a rogue planet become? Well, rogue. Does it just decide to set off on its own day, wave goodbye to its star, and set off into the great unknown? No, of course not. Instead, many are forced out of their solar system by gravity or another planet or star. They may be simply form of their own, separate from any star. See, indeed folks, that would be like standing on a surface of a rogue planet. The conditions on the celestial objects are still largely a mystery. However, experts agree that they are much different from the Earth and any other planets with a normal orbit. For this matter, since rogue planets don't move around like a star, they have no daylight. Instead, they exist constant nighttime. That means they also have little warmth and an icy world. Upon learning about rogue planets, many people ask the same question: is there one in our solar system? Experts do not know about this. While rogue planets are hard to detect, we could be noticing through the sky changes, the phenomena of the weather patterns, that one could be very close to the Earth because of the gravitational pull from a rogue planet would have the effect on the orbit, heavily impacting life across this planet Earth. Though again, they explain billions of rogue planets in our galaxy. Experts also state about one entering our solar system. See again folks, what do the experts hope to learn from studying rogue planets? These travellers could teach us a lot about how planets form and evolve. They've already found one rogue planet that's about 12 times the size of Jupiter, another closest to us. In fact, it's about the size of Mars. The knowledge scientists could gain from studying these other worlds could become very important to the future of our own world. Folks, we all know there is almost 5,000 planets outside the solar system. If you were to picture what it would be like in one of those distant worlds or exoplanets, your mental image would probably include a parent star, or more than one, especially if you are a Star Wars fan. But scientists have recently discovered the more planets that we can think of are floating through the space by themselves. Unlike by the friendly star companion, these are icy free-floating planets. But how did they end up all on their own? And what can be done? And also they tell about how such planets form. Finding more about exoplanets to the study has indeed, as we might have expected, widened the understanding of what a planet, in the particular line between planets of a brown dwarfs, cool stars that can fuse hydrogen like other stars and form increasingly blurred, that dictates whether an object is a planet or a brown dwarf, as long as being the subject in a debate. If it is a question of mass, do objects cease to be planets if they are undergoing nuclear fusion, or is it the way in which an object is formed most important? Think about this, folks. While about half of the stars in the brown dwarfs exist, and the most recent multiple star systems, we can typically think that planets and objects in orbit around a star. More recently, however, improvements of telescope technology have enabled to us in smaller and cooler isolated objects in space. We can identify them now very clearly. Objects that have too low of mass or temperature can be considered a brown dwarf star. The different characteristics of free floating planets, brown dwarfs and low mass stars, 13 Jupiter masses, is often used to distinguish planets from brown dwarfs. Please note the size of a mass of different entities. Brown dwarfs are roughly the size of Jupiter, although more massive. What we still don't know is exactly how these objects formed. Stars and brown dwarfs form from the region of dust and gas in space starts to fall on itself. The region becomes denser and more material falls onto it due to gravity in processes dubbed gravitational collapse. So indeed, folks, how to spot a wandering planet. Rogue planets are difficult to spot because they are relatively small and cold. The only source of internal heat is to remain energy left over from the collapse and result in their formation. The smaller the planet, the quicker the heat will radiate away. Cold objects in space emit less light, and the light they do emit is redder. A star-like sun has a peak emission to be visible range, and the peak is instead of the infrared. Because of this challenging to see from directly, many such planets have been found using the indirect method of gravitational microlensing. When this distant stars in just in the right position from its light of the gravitationally distorted by the heat and sensation. However, detecting planets via a single unique event comes with a disadvantage, that we can't ever observe a planet again. We also don't see the planet in context with its surroundings, so we're missing some vital information. To observe a free-floating planet directly, the best strategy is to catch them while they are young. That means there is still reasonable amounts of heat left over their formation, so they can be seen at their brightest in recent studies. The team combined images from a large number of telescopes in order to find the fainted objects within the group of the young stars in a region called Upper Scorpius. They used data from large general-purpose surveys combined with more recent observations of their own to generate detailed visible and infrared maps of areas of the sky covered up to 20-year period. Then again looked for faint objects moving away to indicate there were members of other groups of stars rather than background stars much further away. The group found between 70 to 170 free-floating planets called the Upper Scorpius region, making their samples of large directly identifiable. So far through, the numbers has significantly uncertainty. Based on the current understanding of gravitational collapse, there seem to be too many free-floating planets in this group of stars. For them all to have formed in this way, the study author concluded that at least 10% of them must have started out life as part of a solar system, forming in a disk of dust, and the dust around the young star, rather than the gravitational collapse. At some point, however, a planet could get ejected due to the interactions of other planets. In fact, authors suggest that these rejections of planets may be just common as planets that have their own alone in space. See, if you're panicking about Earth suddenly spinning off into the depths of space, you probably don't need to worry. These events are more likely early in the formation of planetary systems, when there is a lot of planets jolting through position. But this is impossible. If something internal established planetary system, such as another star, were to disrupt it, then the planet could also still be detached from its sunny home. While we're still having a long way to go to fully understand these wandering planets, studies like this is very valuable. Planets can revisit for further, more detailed investigations as new telescope technology becomes available, which might reveal more about origins of these strange worlds. Okay folks, now I'm going to show you some very important captures that I was able to use the telescope pointing towards the night sky, showing again objects, planets, formations, large asteroids. Please take a real close look at these particular pictures that I was able to collect only just a few hours ago, of early hours of the morning of today. Okay, so on the first particular picture, we're now seeing some large celestial body towards the further reaches of our solar system. This could be indeed past the asteroid belt. Now, at first as well, I was absolutely blown away with the phenomena of the size and formation, the colour and the characteristics of this object. Now, we notice as well that this is a genuine photograph because you can see the colour of the object in the background and these other smaller objects that you can see to here, here, here and here of the objects. But again, you notice that these are a different colour, where we can see them as stars or planets orbiting this larger body, which indeed we could be seeing Nemesis, the destroyer, that has entered into our solar system, causing all this iron oxide, the red refraction of light surrounding the body. This is a very interesting capture. Now again, I was absolutely blown away with this, studying the skies for a good long time and seeing something at this size in space. This is a very, very important particular picture to all of us in our Planet X NIBIRU community. It could be a known heavenly body or a rogue planet like we've spoken about as well at the beginning of the video. But again, the size of this object, if it came towards our world, the Earth, as a flyby, a crossing, it will cause a crustal pole shift. Everything will be devastated. Do they know about this, the establishment? Do those in power, using the binocular telescope and the SPT telescope down at the South Pole? Just another very important capture to our community. Let me just zoom back as well so you can see the area view sites of the phenomena of the heavenly body. Using a different telescope, I was even able to manage to pick up the heavenly body. Once more we can see the characteristics of stars and space rocks to the left hand side of the phenomena. But evidently we notice again the size of the object and the colour and the characteristics, the formation. Now indeed to the left hand side, this is a camera that is causing the lens as well to distort the object. But it's there folks. It's showing up as well to the further reaches of our solar system. Genuine photography that's showing up a heavenly body in space. Now again, by pointing the telescope for a good number of years, way back in 2016 and onwards, we didn't see anything. Something is showing up. Also, this formation was sighted around about early mornings of the 10th of February 2025. Now indeed we can see some characteristics of 3 objects orbiting a huge stellar core, a huge object, indeed looks like a sun in our solar system. This is again towards the further reaches of our solar system. Are we seeing another mini solar system with these orbiting planets to this area view site? A huge glowing formation in space. I mean, when we zoom into the phenomena, we notice to this side as well, we can see the characteristics of planets. Just down below as well, the photography, you can see again another celestial object to the lower part, smaller objects. And to the right hand side, again we can see some kind of characteristics of a planet formation. And also we can notice a moon. This is incredible of seeing these sightings. Just something else that we are noticing using high performance telescopes. Another fantastic capture towards east in space. Now this was taken around about 12 at midnight on the 11th of just a day ago, showing up the phenomena of multiple stars glowing up like planets. You can notice them as well. We can see the space debris and stars in the background as the objects are clearly in view sight in the foreground, glowing formations. Again, we could still be seeing this mini solar system showing up in our solar system, moving objects like planets and stars. Notice again the strange apparition that we can see a glowing star with smaller planets to this side and also to the further area of view sites. Incredibly as well, with this shocking photograph, we notice the star system. Now also as well, this is a genuine photograph. It's not being manipulated by colour or enhancement. This is how it was. Noticing as well to the further areas, the reaches of our solar system, there is a lot of blood red out there, iron oxide. How comes we're seeing this iron oxide now? This is very important. All the captures you see on this broadcast for the Planet X NIBIRU community of importance of noticing something, of an object heading towards us. Taking a look at this space photograph as well. This was taken around about 2:30 AM. Now again, taken around towards the 11th of February, early morning, noticing again other objects and formations. The darkness of space you can see just to the lower area and the upper area. But again we're seeing these huge space rocks and formations surrounded by blood red iron oxide. You can notice as well that the characteristics of the objects, where we can see the original colour of this object white hot moving through space, and the other formation of a different colour. So the photograph hasn't again been modified in any way whatsoever. Something again moving across space. When we zoom into the phenomena, you can notice that this object, like a planet, has a tail. Notice that just to this area of the actual photograph. And just down below as well we can see another object, indeed like a second sun, moving through space with a tail, just like the dragon. Just behind where we see this formation, 2 formations of interest. Please again folks, send a message just below the video of what you think that these objects are deep in space. Okay, now this object was so bright you can just see the light refraction from it as well through the lenses. This object could be 29 million kilometers away from our world, the Earth, in our solar system. Look at the changes of the characteristics of this huge asteroid formation. Now, incredibly, I'd like to state as well, this is the first time that I've seen something glowing and refracting light on an asteroid in space. Now, also, when you see the characteristics of the formation, you notice that the formation has a strange looking face. Indeed, it looks demonic. But then when you look even closer, it is shining, very bright. Now, again, think about it. Planets, asteroids, through the solar system, are made from different materials. We could be seeing something very expensive. Something, again, that is so solid and worth a fortune, just lurking through space. What are we seeing, folks? Just another very interesting piece of evidence of an object. Indeed, it looks evil. But again, the surrounding the object to the lower half of the formation is shining. It is shining so strong through space. Let me just zoom out for you as well, so you can see the characteristics of the whole picture. Just absolutely mind-blowing to see this. Some kind of phenomena, formation, that is shining so strong through space. So next time you look at the stars at night, and then using a high-performance telescope, zooming in, those stars could easily be planets that have entered our solar system. Some kind of phenomena. Again, you can see the characteristics of this photograph showing up smaller bodies, smaller objects, which could easily be Farada, Harrington, Helion, Arboda, something showing up in our solar system. So indeed, to all of you in our NIBIRU Planet X community, please have a safe evening wherever you are across the world. I will indeed be back very shortly with more footage and more evidence of what is to come from Matt Rogers.